All right, now straight to the point. This video right here, I know I haven't done a video in a while. I'm aware of that, but that'll change. But this video, I was very hesitant. I wanted to do this video when I first came back to YouTube and stop uploading, but I wanted to do it right. And I've watched a lot of people do videos on this kind of stuff, and I'm not. Well, let me be respectful. I'm not gonna say that they could have done better, but not what I would have done. Not what I would have done. I'd have done a little different. So if you are a person that just sleep with a lot of people, like constantly, this video ain't for you. Um, Stop doing that. You come back, watch the video, you will get what the further this video go along, you'll get what I'm saying and why I'm saying that. Second thing, before I get into this video, again, this is not to bash anybody. I'm a talk about some things that some people might not know, be it male or female. And I'm gonna point some things out. So if you feel like I'm being biased, just remember, look at the screen and look at the things I'm showing you. So it's not that I'm being biased, I'm being straightforward. I'm gonna address a certain myth that everybody's heard about, but I'm gonna be respectful, but I'm gonna address it. So let's start. Matter of fact, before I go there, it's important to understand that the male brain doesn't fully develop until the guy's in his mid-20s. The female brain probably way before that. There's reasons for that. I'll get into all of that stuff. There's reasons for that. Being that I said that, it's very important that when your brain hasn't fully developed, that you don't go out and sleep around and have sex or whatever. And as I would say, how to put this, be respectful, leave your unfinished data files within somebody. Because again, your body, we're going to talk about semen, your body is creating replicas of who you are by the millions. The thing is, your brain isn't fully developed. That's an underlying problem. And I'll address it later on. But here we go. I'm going to pull this up on the screen real quick. Now, these two things right here, they're the same, one and the same, but then they're separate. I should say they're separate, but they're the same, just separate. When today is really fast, people do things at a fast pace. I'm not a fan of that. Excuse me, I'm not a fan of that. But this is the world we live in, the microwave age, so they say. The issue with that is something that's so sacred and important is brushed through quickly, or you might have videos on YouTube or on certain networks, BET, whatever, and you see provocative images you see them, and your body begins to create certain energies and auras. That's what happens to men. I can't speak for female because I'm not a female in that perspective. So your body is already in that mode. You're just not aware of that. These things hurt you sexually and spiritually. When I say that, I'm not. Notice I'm saying both at the same time. I'm gonna say sexually and spiritually. I'm gonna say sexually because anybody can have sex, and that's what you want to do with your life. This video ain't for you. But if you want to understand the construct of sex, the makeup of sex, the connection, because I'm complete as an individual. That woman's complete as an individual. The issue is not issue. The reality is I'm not one whole. I'm complete, but not one whole. When the male and female body connects, that connection, that union is one whole. Because without her and without him, they couldn't reproduce. Let's be real here. Doing this with another person is the purpose of that. That's the main purpose. Is what it is. Main purpose. Now, being that we have these brains we have that are very, very far advanced, there's an attachment to it. Because doing that, I should say, being physical with somebody, you're joining your root chakras. It is what this is reality. Here's the difference. When you do that, you're making a physical connection. As you'd say, the body will begin to create certain chemicals. Um, some people call that nectar, like not saying like the bees or whatever, but they refer to that as the body's nectar. But when you become one union and things your body create, and it creates an aura and a structure that forms around the two people that's doing that. That's important for you to understand that because I'm breaking that down also and later in the video. Let me go to the next slide. All right. I want to read something. This ain't defending nobody, but I'm going somewhere with this, so just follow me. Right here, it says a black body or black body is idealized is an ideal physical body that absorbs all incident incident electromagnetic radiation, regardless of frequency or angle of incidence. Regardless, the name black body is given because it absorbs radiation in all frequencies. All frequencies. Not because it only absorbs. A black body can emit black body radiation. On the contrary, this ain't the bashing body. On the contrary, a white body is one with a rough surface that reflects all incident rays completely and uniformly in all directions. Now, say this again. You can, it's on the screen, you can read it. Now, I want you to focus on something. A black body is given because it absorbs radiation in all frequencies, all from the sun. A black body also emits radiation. The same radiation takes in, not as strong as the sun, of course, but it emits radiation. This is all true. To whereas our white brothers and sisters might not so much. But then look at what it says. It says, on the contrary, a white body is one with a rough surface. I'm gonna break it down in a minute. I say rough surface that reflects all incident rays completely, reflects and uniformly in all directions. The total opposite. Now, why am I saying this? Because you guys have heard this nonsense. I'm just gonna get to the root of it. People had this conversation about size, right? Once you go black, never go back. You've heard that nonsense. I heard nonsense also. When people say that, they have no clue what they're saying. Now, first of all, that's not really true. Let me be clear on it. That's not true. But the notion is this: pigmentation of a skin of a certain being, that skin vibrates at a high frequency. It is what it is. Anything that absorbs heat and then radiates heat is absorbing. Ice, the molecules in ice is very still, not absolute zero. They're not paused, very still. Whereas hot water, back and forth, a lot of friction, a lot of vibration, right? So when you have this skin right here vibrates. Not only does it vibrate from the sunlight, it radiates the same energy around it. It does. Now, think for a second. If you sit a body, and let's say a black body in the grass, right? And it had sunlight, that body can radiate plant life around it. Not far out, no, not far out, but it can. Very subtle. It can. Because for a while, that body emits radiation from the sun. Now, back to my point about people talking about size. No. This will also get into the Kundalini energy. Kundalini energy. This will get into that. Now, I'm not going to be so bland with a point I'm going to make. I'm not. So I'll be respectful. Being that a race was here first, and I'll just say that. The energy within that race is very strong. I'll say that. There's no arguing that. Even that vibration, it is. So when you have somebody that neither is good or bad, we have a person that's say a couple that's this race and a couple that's this race, or a person this race and this race. And generally speaking, this person was always with this race because that's what they know. This person, I'm not saying everybody, but just generally speaking. If let's say this black guy was with this anybody else other than black, her body will feel different. Here's why. When it comes to a female, the epidermis right here, the skin, never, ever, ever touch the inside of anybody, skin. Only the female. Now, this skin vibrates and irradiates energy. In radiation, it does. When the texture of that skin is within I'm not gonna say foreign body, because I can say foreign body with a black female, because the foreign body means it's not that body. When it's there, things are gonna feel different. And forget size. We're being serious and specific. The fact that body emits radiation, that can be a very different feeling for a person, to whereas the other person might not have that, or to that extent. This is where that's coming from. The issue is most guys are not even aware of that. They hear that and they think it means something, that they've done something, and it's trivial. We're being specific and real. Even you can reverse it. It can be a any other race, be a male, be with a black female, the mitochondrial Eve gene from that creation. He's gonna exhibit the same feeling, being he's a male versus it being a white female. It's gonna feel the same feeling because, again, this skin of the male, like all organs, are designed internal. This covers all our organs. But that part of a male body is also the same skin here. Different structure and texture, that's true. Same skin. That's the only time human skin, the outer, enters a body. At the root chakra, the most stable part of a man's being. Not here, the root chakra area. When you do this stuff a whole lot, you drain yourself. We're not even talking about the nonsense about a succubus, all that nonsense. If you want to believe that, believe in that. We being real. When you do that over and over and over and over and over, you're doing two things. You're dumbing yourself down spiritually and sexually. And you're becoming more primal. So it means nothing. The majority of females, the vast majority of females, the total opposite. Those things mean something. That feeling means something. That connection means something. Because what happened is, when your body connects with a female's body, so you already have an aura. You already have an aura around your body. You do. She does. You do. The sense of and the understanding of knowing you about to do that, your body is getting in preparation for that physical contact. His or hers. That's just natural. Now, let me go back to this one. 1 second. All right. Right here. I'll read it. A black body is a thermal equilibrium that is at constant temperature, emits electromagnetic black body radiation. The radiation is emitted according to Planck's law, meaning that it has a spectrum that is determined by the temperature alone. The temperature alone. Not by the body's shape or composition. An ideal black body's thermal equilibrium has two notable properties. It is an ideal emitter, radiates at every frequency, emits as much or more thermal radiated energy as any other body at the same temperature. You know how people go out, and this is the joke. It's funny, but it's a joke. Black people don't like the cold. Because theoretically, we cool down faster. Because our temperature is higher. Now you might say, well, everybody's at 98.6. In theory. If you have a thicker blood like I do, your body temperature will be higher because the blood is thicker viscosity. Blood's gonna be thicker. All right. It is a diffuser. It is a diffuse emitter also measured per unit area, perpendicular to the direction. The energy is radiated isotropically, independent of direction. An approximate realization of a black surface is a hole in a wall of a large insulated enclosure, an oven, for example. Any light in the hole is reflected or absorbed at the internal surfaces of the body and is unlikely to reemerge. It is absorbed and is unlikely to reemerge, making the hole a nearly perfect absorber. When the radiation confirmed in such an enclosure is in thermal equilibrium, the radiation emitted from a hole will be as great as from the body at the equilibrium temperature. What else does that? wormholes, black holes. They call them lingas. They're black holes. These things are carbon based at a greater level than our skin. This skin is also carbon based, copper like color, or even darker. Now again, this ain't to bash anybody. This is real. This is real. Not bashing nobody. This is real. Now, this one. This is what I was talking about the first part of the video. And I'm gonna read this. Let me put this on the screen. You see our individual auric, etheric, or energy fields extend and surround, in most cases, at least 3 feet from our physical bodies. Sometimes largely depending on how expanded we are. Every partner we have, even the ones we deem as meaningless, we are merging our auric fields with theirs, forming individual energies cores with each partner every time we have sex. Whoa. This means that their distress, thoughts, fracture, or unhealthy patterns become impressions in our aura. People talk about makeup sex. Here's the problem with that. When you're upset with somebody, but you're in love, right? And that happens physically. You guys connect. You feel good for that time. The issue is you didn't solve that problem. It's still an underlying problem. The reason you did that is because a part of your body wanted you just to calm down and relax, and with the person you were in love with. So that happens in a very intense fashion, in a very intense way. Because again, your auras merge. When you walk off, if this guy is stressed out, angry, and bitter, when you guys split like that, he leaves files of himself behind with you, physically, spiritually, and energetically. 3 ways that guy leaves himself with you, vice versa with the female. When you go so far apart, we spoke about physics. There is still a connection and bond. There is still a connection and bond. It's still there. You can't physically see it, but you can feel it. The closer you get, the more you recognize it. So in this sense, it would be better to speak about and talk it out. So now now the next thing I'm talking about, I didn't do slides for this because I want to be too graphic. But I'm gonna say this. If you're with a person, guys, you're with a female, and we're gonna be real here. If your mind is not where, okay, this is the part of the month where her body is lined with this part of the moon phase and it's cleaning itself. 2 weeks removed from that, something else that's special. It's called ovulation. If you don't remember that as a guy, and I'm not knocking you, most guys don't. If you don't, that speaks volumes about a connection. Because see, to you, then it's more physical. Some females don't remember it. It is what it is. When you remember those things, it might be impressive. But I'm not saying do that just to impress somebody. The point being is this, and again, females, when you're beginning to, let's say, ovulate, and we're gonna be real here. Let's just say you're trying to have a child. Let's just say that. When that starts happening, the best thing you can do is to wear loose clothing. That way you don't suppress your aura, sexual and physical, in a sense, nature, aura to your mate, or who are you in love with, or spouse. It's more free flowing. That's important. What's also important is this, that your hair is loose, in or down, because your pheromones are released through your scalp. Being that white women have afros, that harbors heat, and it also radiates. It's not bashing anybody. The pheromones from that woman, now all women, this happens to all women, period. Just speak from what I know. It moves out further because I'm not gonna say a heat box, but it's like its own, how to put this, ecosystem, if that makes sense, to where it houses the pheromones. And then I've had afro, I had a lot of hair at one time, and it's just when sometimes it's just hot. You can feel that. If you have afro, if you ever turn real quick like this and turn it around, you can feel the heat. I've had afro before. I think as being a female, her scalp is sweating as it's supposed to. She's 2 weeks removed from the clean part of her body, the moon phase. So now her body is in between the moon phases of this part of the month where her body was clean. Now her body's going into this sense. So her body's actually preparing for that time. Not the time of the month, 2 weeks removed from that. Guys should be aware of this also. Because your hair's free flowing, females, loose the clothing. That guy can sense, he can sense, not smell, like scent. You have a scent, he can smell. If you've been with somebody for a long time, you are aware of this. Some guys pick this up immediately. They're just that in tune. But you can sense these things without this person even telling you. You might even remind her. These things all go into effect because sexual intercourse don't just start when two bodies connect. No. In theory, it starts up here. With the female, it's at the it's just below the crown chakra and right in the middle, right above the root chakra. With the male, right above the root chakra. And I named two places on the female because you gotta think her pheromones released through her scalp. But then that's the top of the pyramid. The very bottom is the crown chakra, which is the house or the room or the home that is visited by, I would say, the key. The male has the key, that's a lock. These things all go together purposefully. So when you make that connection, it's very important. Also, don't drink any milk. Excessive sugar. I'm going to be real here. I had a problem with sugar a while ago. Just going to be honest, I did. And so let me say this: what happens, male and female? If you're a female, you drink a lot of milk and stuff, eat steak and beef. Listen, your body physically can't clean itself with those toxins and poisons. So where does it go? It has to come out of your body, and it does. And then guys will say, "Excuse me, this person smell like this, this person smell like that." Not because they're not clean. They don't understand what's going on. You know why? Because they're raised, we eat this, we drink this, we do this. All of these things. Not saying and teaching these things has to come out. It does. Because it's foreign in your body. We do that. We 1, 2, urinate, bowel movement. That's the options a guy has. I'll get into that in a minute. Females is a little different. When your body cleans itself, it does the same thing. Here's the problem with that, though. When you do that over and over and over and over and over, when that time comes, not the time of the month, to when you're ovulating, those things will also come out. This is a fact. So what happens is your body's releasing toxins, but your body's also in a cycle of wanting to, in the sense to have kids. I'll say that. I'll leave it like that. But then they're mixing up. You have liquids coming out of your body that's foreign to your body. And then the natural nectar of a female, they're also coming out, but then they're being mixed. That can cause issues. Men, heavy alcohol, heavy drinking, smoking weed. Yes, they're smoking weed, eating bad foods. Those poisons also come out in a guy's semen. This is a fact. To where a guy can be drinking, smoking heavy, whatever, eating steak, whatever, all this other kind of stuff, ground beef, whatever, drinking milk. This female is very clean. You know she's clean. She's got to have a disease enough, no infection. But then she's with this male, and then after they're done connecting, however you want to put it, remember, he leaves a part of himself within her. The data he has that's copied all his DNA, he's left that with her. The issue is what he's left is tainted. It's been poisoned because his body released those chemicals through that. That can cause problems for a female. Or ignorant guy might think, oh, she smell. But in reality, it's from him. Or vice versa, to where the guy can be clean and the females don't have an infection or nothing, but then the things she eat, these things come out of your body. Be it you sweat it out, urinate, poop, bowel movement or whatever, or that way. There's a clock. There's a clock. We're going to count down to the cycle to be clean. Okay? We're going to now count down the cycle to have children. These things are very important because these things also follow the moon phases. Now, is it every single month, the first month? No. Those days will gradually change. first this month. It might be the third this month, the third is next month, and it might go down the fourth or fifth. Those things change. When it changed and it stopped, also the ovulation periods change also. Remember I told you a female's body, her brain matures faster than the male because she's a carrier. Her brain has to. She can't give birth to a child when her brain's not fully developed. Her brain tells her body her cervix when to open, how far to open. Her brain does this stuff. Down the information highway, the spinal cord. Her brain does that. Her brain has to be fully developed. Whereas the male, it doesn't. But when it being that it's not, he's there with her. He can have children with this female. Her body's developed. His is truly not. Body's developed. Brain's not developed. And then they're together physically. He won't even understand what's going on because his brain can't construct the feelings he's having. They can't because he might have a man body, but up here it's not fully finished yet. If that makes sense. These things are very important. Now, I'm not going to argue about the back and forth smoking. Do what you want to do. I'm speaking on facts. The point that arguing, as they call makeup sex, these things seem to be popular. I see people posting on Facebook, which is the issue is they don't understand what comes behind that. That's done now. Now, let me not say this. I was going to say something. I know it's been offensive. I'm not going to say that. But I will say this. Doing this right here, it involves trust. Meaning, and then let me back up. When you explore something that's not you, but then it's really you, like a female's not a male. But remember, I said in the beginning, I am complete, but not yet one whole. She's complete, not yet one whole. When our bodies conjoin, we're both complete separately, but now we're one whole, connected. In the sense of, if that was the case, you bring another child on this planet. You get two wholes get together and bring in another half. That's how it works. These things are very important. Even your energies, these things are also important. Your auras, also important. Even guys wearing tight pants, that also suppress your body's aura. And I've seen it. That's not good. It isn't. So again, when you go towards the point of, okay, I've left this stage of my cycle, female, and you're going towards ovulation, more free-flowing clothes. Your diet is very, very important. Honey, manuka honey, oatmeal, alkaline water. That's very important. You're getting and I'm not just saying do this because that's going. This should be something you do all the time. But especially then. When that happens, that diet starts. Again, it's supposed to always be like that. But anyway, let's say it's not. That diet starts from when your cycle first starts all the way through. Because your body, after that happens, your body's prepping itself for that. Now, am I saying that can only happen this part of the month or whatever? This part of after? No, it doesn't mean that. What I am saying is that's the best time for that body, as for a female, for that, because physically, without her saying so verbally, that body's is preparing for that. It's prepping for that. Now, humans enjoy that. On occasion, we do. The issue is, I see a lot of guys talk about one night stands real quick. They're being dumbed down. They are, because what you're doing is you're overlooking the spiritual connection. You're overlooking that. It's not a bad thing, but you're overlooking it to where you're becoming more primal like an animal. So it's not even important to you. It's just something to do when you're gone. Well, then you could become so dumbed down, and or a female might be very, very highly and spiritual in that sense, and the guy is not. And then they become together. She'll become more attached to him than him her, or vice versa. That very seldom happens, but these things happen. When you're connecting your body with somebody, you guys are enclosed. You have throat chakra across from throat chakra. Root chakras are conjoined. The roots are intertwined, are twisted around each other. The crown chakras are orbiting each other. This is a physical sensation and a spiritual sensation, to where two bodies are actually together, being human. and they're experiencing each other. In a sense, I'm experiencing a part of my body that I don't possess daily, but it is a part of me. Although not physically, I can touch it. It's a part of me because that came from that. Be it a female, I'm also feeling a stronger side of myself. The mitochondrial Eve gene, even any female, I'm more of a soft build, more soft structure. But this guy comes from me, so this is actually a part of me. Although I'm walking around being just this, that is a part of my being, removed from me, but yet still connected to me. So again, tight clothing don't work. Well, you can do that, but then you're actually hurting yourself. Now, that's for those that are more concerned on how they look. Then it is what it is. Guys running around posting pictures of females like that, you're dumbing yourself down. And I've seen women that they don't even mind that. Well, then, if you're looking for sex, that's what's going to happen. But then you're not. There's no connection at all. That's dangerous because your body's not made for that. It just isn't. Your body builds up to this, especially being in a female. It takes longer. Some guys will call that what people call that foreplay. It's reason for that because your body and her body is becoming in sync with each other. The vibrations are beginning to match. If her vibrations are lower, his are higher, it'll pull hers up, vice versa. You're becoming one. Now, I put the screen back up because I'm gonna speak on something else about this. Now I showed this. It's not to bash anybody, but we all know what's what, and this is factual. When you're taking a part of your body, men, I would say a sacred key. I'm saying it again, a sacred key. When you have that kind of power, that's a key that will disperse the energy from your body within another body. Your body is sharing catalogs of who you are with this female. Her body then recognize that and pull it in. And then it absorbs all of the energies. This is a fact. Be it high, low energies, be erratic, smooth, soothing, or anger. These things happen. So when women run around stupid, no good. I'm not saying no good guys because they go both ways. But your body will carry the energy of another person. This is for females. Now, there's an attachment that the male will leave from that female. You can't avoid or overlook that. That is also true. What's important is to understand sex is just not taking your clothes off, connect with somebody, and being done. You can do that, but then that's not the value. You've stripped the value over the way. The wanting to be around somebody, the wanting to hold somebody's hand, be it a female or a male. These things start not just in the room or the bedroom or wherever. The thought starts long before that. The idea of her body is the clock. It's keeping time. It's keeping track. Male's a little different. The female body is delicate, very specific, and cosmic oriented. These things you pay attention to because again, I'll be respectful here. These things are even for let me say this. Being they have the brains we have, we can understand where we come from. We can understand where the cosmic structure within this brain comes from. We're here using these bodies. Knowing these things are sacred and spiritual. When you connect with somebody, you give this person all of you. Female, same thing. You're totally connected. No guidelines, no barriers. You're totally connected. I'm totally plugged in. We're totally attached. These things are very important to where, and I'm gonna say this with respect, to a guy's crown chakra can be at a female's navel. His throat chakra is seated below her root chakra. I'm gonna be careful when I say this, but I'm gonna be respectful. There's a healing nature from a female, and people that are really, really spiritual know what I'm talking about. There's a healing nature that a female possesses that exudes from her body. This is a fact. These things have healing properties. This is also a fact. This is why it's very important that you, and I'm not picking at women. It's very important that you don't eat certain things. heavy cheese, milk, all this stuff, steak, ground beef, all these things come out of your body. And they come out of your body in that area. Or you get infections. And then they'll tell you to do the yogurt thing, which I'm not big on yogurt, but whatever. I'm not a doctor in that sense, so I'll leave it alone. Knowing your body, even in that area, has a healing capability. You know it does, because again, there's a certain membrane, you guys, females, I'm talking about a certain membrane that's down there when you have a baby. That's like a protective sleeve for babies. That same thing, not for babies, that same thing is still there. But it's also healing properties. This is a fact. These things, and I'm just going to be, I already said what I said. You guys can dig what I'm saying. These things have healing properties. This is a fact. These things nurture certain things. It's also a fact. There's no way around that. So when you do these things, it's important you know all the things you're skipping over or just do something fast and leave. That's your choice. It's your choice. The issue is you're not stopping and analyzing and thinking about what it's really made for, what it's meant for. To where a female, the chakras of each other's hearts are right there. To where your heartbeats are almost in sync. This actually happens. Two brains fuse into one. You have two halves that are totally complete, that are fused into one. For that moment, one creature, both being positive and negative, yin and yang. Both creatures form to become one. How long your bodies can join, that body will also begin that one body. Now, I'm not saying it's two separate. When you can join, there's one body. Be it two can go separate ways. That's one body. That one body can also do certain things that it does not do by itself or separate. Create certain chemicals, create certain memories, download certain data, read certain data, share certain information. This is a fact. So doing this sexual stuff, this is also spiritual, sexuality, spirituality. Doesn't sound like religion, does it? No, it doesn't. These things rhyme. I know it being English is the last language and the slowest language, but these things still rhyme. These things are very important. So again, the ideal of sexual connection or touch is not just, it's not solely no clothes, physically connected. It's not that. It's holding hands, talking, conversating, eye to eye contact, hugging. All these things go into that. All these things are going to that. All of these things contribute to a great outcome. To two bodies actually together sharing the moment, because you can do these things by yourself. That's your choice, but it's not the same as its natural connection. You can get mad if I'm not bashing nobody. What you are, what you are. That ain't my point. My point is nothing can duplicate that. Nothing can duplicate nature and what's natural, and these things happen. Now, being that these two bodies can at one time become climactic physically, the step is once that happens, now the two bodies can strive to supersede that physical feeling to spiritual. Some of you would call it enlightenment. Because again, that's another climactic moment. Take lifetimes. But again, lifetimes comes from the female's root chakra, the birth of mankind. As I said, mitochondrial gene. So when you speak about, I wasn't going to come on here and do something stupid, say something goofy. That's not my speed. I don't do that. But it's very important that you understand the purpose of this stuff. And you guys talk about, I'll touch on this real quick, semen retention. I don't get into that anymore because to me, hearing that is it's annoying to me. It's really annoying. If you're retaining something, you're only retaining something. You're only retaining something that you're building up. So why are you building up something you're not going to use? Why would you build something you're not going to transfer or trade? I shouldn't say trade or download or store somewhere or share. And I'm being respectful. There would be no purpose in doing that. But yet, we do that. Mostly men, they do that over and over and over and over and over. And it doesn't benefit anybody. It dumbs you down by nature. So when you see a female, all you see is her behind, or you see her chest, or full face lips. That's all you see. You can't see past the physical spectrum when she's way more than that. If you really see who she really was, you see an aura around her. Totally. That's the full hurt in its full totality. Most guys just see that, and they post. I see stuff on Facebook. Those guys will never ever, to me, experience sex in that sense with a spiritual connection. They won't, because they void it out. It didn't register here, so they can't check it out or check out. And I don't feel sad, because again, that's childish. But if we're gonna be real here, this is very important, very physical, very sensual, very sexual. But these things are also important to where your body is one, vibrating on one accord, one frequency, that they're matching. Heart rates is matching, heartbeats is matching. The roots of the chakras are twisted and combined, or twisted around each other. This is what I'm doing. Not weird. This is what I'm saying. The physical part of the physical part of becoming one with the person. The natural part of becoming one. Again, I'm not bashing nobody's lifestyle. This ain't for that. I'm saying the natural way. The natural way. So when I think like that, like sex, this is my thought. Now, I'm not gonna address any personal questions, so don't come in the comments with that. This ain't the video for that. But my thoughts on this is always in this direction. It's very important that you keep these things in perspective they're supposed to be in, and not changing. That's how I feel. They ain't gonna change. So hope you guys learned something today. I would think you did, because again, these things I didn't know these things off the bat. I researched these things and then look this stuff up. So eating good is very important. It's very, very important. And yes, eating good does affect, not say sexuality. Eating good does affect the spiritual and sexual side of you. It affects both of them. And the funny part about it, it cannot affect one, not the other. It'll affect both simultaneously. It'll affect both of them. There's no other way around that. So you guys take care.